Texans in Yorkshire, a tale of tea, tantrums, and tumbleweeds. Chapter 1, A New Horizon. The sun cast its golden glow over Austin, Texas, as Hank Whitfield sat on the creaky porch of his family's home, sipping a cold beer and gazing out at the familiar expanse of green lawns studded with lazy tumbleweeds. It was a peaceful scene, filled with the sounds of cicadas and the distant bark of their golden retriever, Bubba. Yet Hank's mind was far from peaceful, contemplating the decision that lay before him, a decision that would uproot his family from their soulful Texan life. Hank had been offered an unexpected but enticing opportunity at a burgeoning British tech company, a new role that promised not only adventure, but the chance for the Whitfields to explore the quaint charm of Yorkshire, England. It was an opportunity Hank couldn't refuse, though it came with its own complex web of challenges, the most daunting of which was convincing his wife, Daisy. Daisy Whitfield was the epitome of a charismatic Southern belle, with her infectious laugh and boundless energy. She was busy orchestrating their latest backyard babu, dispensing icy sweet tea and ribs with aplomb. Yet even her joyous spirit could not completely mask her hesitance about leaving everything they had known behind. Hank approached her with cautious optimism. As the party dwindled, with full-bellied guests meandering towards the gate, Hank seized the moment. "Daisy, love, can we talk?" he began, his voice carrying a hint of excitement underlined with nervous tension. "Sure thing, Hank," Daisy replied, wiping her hands on her denim apron, her face a blend of curiosity and suspicion. Hank took a deep breath. "I got an offer, a job in Yorkshire, England. It's a big deal, and I think we should consider it." Daisy's eyes widened, her exuberant spirit momentarily stilled. "Yorkshire? As in castles and tea and all that?" she mused, trying to latch on to the romanticized notion she held of the English countryside. Hank nodded, his enthusiasm bubbling over. "Yes, exactly. It's a chance to live somewhere new, to have adventures and create memories. Think of it, Daisy. The kids could have a life-changing experience. We could have one too." That night, as Austin shimmered under a blanket of stars, Hank and Daisy talked late into the evening. By morning, they had come to a decision. Adventure awaited them across the Atlantic, and the Whitfields were ready, albeit a little nervously, to embrace it. Chapter 2, Arrival at the Moors. The flight was long, the air turbulent with the overlapping sounds of anticipation and exhaustion. When the Whitfields landed at Manchester Airport, a cool drizzle welcomed them to England. It was a stark contrast to the dry Texan heat, and even Bubba, begrudgingly tucked into an airline-approved crate, seemed to sense the change in the air. Hank, Daisy, Jessie, and Lily piled into a rental car that seemed comically compact compared to the SUVs they'd known back home, and set off on the winding drive toward their new home in Yorkshire, a charming cottage nestled near the edges of the moors. The landscape unfolded around them in a series of rolling hills speckled with quaint stone cottages and fields blanketed in mist. It was beautiful in a way that felt both foreign and familiar. "Look at those sheep, Dad. They're everywhere." Jesse, the elder of the teenagers and a devoted high school football player, remarked from the back seat, his voice a blend of bemusement and awe. "And those dry stone walls," Lily added, her mahogany curls bouncing as she pointed excitedly through the window. "It's like something out of a storybook." Hank smiled in the rearview mirror, feeling a sense of accomplishment for shepherding his family into this new chapter. Daisy leaned closer to him, her eyes crinkling with warmth. "This place is going to be something special, Hank. I can feel it." Their cottage awaited them, modest yet adorned with climbing ivy and a small garden bursting with late summer blooms. It was quintessentially English, its charm unmistakable, and the family savored the promise of turning it into a home. The first evening in their new abode was a chaotic melange of misplaced luggage, lingering jet lag, and laughter. The Whitfields crammed into the cozy kitchen, Daisy attempting to make sense of the odd stovetop, while Hank tried and failed to find the Texan hot sauce she was accustomed to using. All the while, new sights and sounds crept in through the cottage windows. The bleat of distant sheep, the rustle of wind through ancient oaks, each adding a layer to their newfound life. Chapter 3, Tea and Tantrums. The next morning, the Whitfields ventured out to explore their picturesque village. They wandered through cobblestone streets lined with quaint shops featuring names like Ye Olde Tea Emporium and the Dale's Butcher. The pace was slower here, the air crisp with the scent of hay and distant rain. Hank and Daisy decided their first stop should be a local tea room, driven by the romantic notion of partaking in the quintessentially British afternoon tea. The shop was a cozy nook filled with porcelain cups and saucers, its walls lined with every imaginable type of loose-leaf tea. The aroma was intoxicating. "Afternoon, lovelies," greeted a cheerful woman from behind the counter, her Yorkshire accent thick yet inviting. "Fancy a cuppa?" Daisy nodded vigorously, though Hank's grin faltered momentarily as he tried to decode her words. "Yes, indeed," Daisy replied, emulating the sing-song warmth of Southern hospitality. "We'd love to try a bit of everything." As they sat down, platters of delicate sandwiches, scones, and pastries were set before them. Daisy surveyed the spread, attempting to spot any familiar flavors. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" she whispered to Hank, attempting to butter a scone with clotted cream as if deciphering an intricate puzzle. The kids were less inclined toward the tea, their teenage enthusiasm straining against the overt gentility of the experience. Jesse, restless, peered into his phone, likely missing the fast food familiarity back home. Lily, ever the adventurous spirit, was busy documenting every detail on her camera, a habit inherited from her father. But soon, the warmth of Yorkshire hospitality won them over. The room filled with the sound of clinking cups and rising laughter, an oasis of light-heartedness in the drizzle that pattered against the windows. Hank and Daisy exchanged a glance, their silent confidence renewed with each sip of tea. Despite their enthusiasm, however, they quickly discovered Yorkshire life included its own set of challenges. Returning home, they were met with perplexed expressions on the faces of their new neighbors, seemingly bewildered by the appearance of full-sized cowboy hats and Daisy's insistence on offering iced tea when a proper pot was more customary. Daisy attempted to bridge this cultural chasm by organizing a neighborhood Welcome to Yorkshire party, spurred by her love of gatherings and the desire to integrate into their new community. She spent the week bustling around local markets, collecting ingredients that would mix Southern flavors with British tradition, like her audacious attempt to create a brisket-flavored pie. The event, held in their garden, was a grand affair, festooned with Lone Star flags and an eclectic array of Texan and Yorkshire decorations. Daisy, in her element, eagerly greeted guests as they arrived. While the neighbors appreciated the gesture, the atmosphere quickly veered into bemusement with the Texan fervor juxtaposed against the East Yorkshire gentility. Conversations fluttered like paper kites, buoyed by cross-cultural curiosities, as attendees exchanged stories and a few unsure laughs. Mr. Hargreaves, the elderly gentleman from next door, explained the intricacies of cricket scoring to Jessie, who retorted with tales of American football, gesticulating wildly. Jessie's efforts were valiant, but not without hiccups. While attempting to join a local game of rugby at his new school, he charged into it with all the misplaced fervor of a linebacker, unaware of the nuanced tactics that set rugby apart. Yet it was this very bluster, combined with the occasional clumsy tackle, that allowed him to create laughter-filled bonds with his classmates, a shared language beyond words. Back at home, the party carried on, as Daisy's Southern charm gradually won over the cautious hearts of their neighbors. Yet it was Bubba, the family's loyal and ever-inquisitive golden retriever, who unwittingly became the hero of the day by barreling through a meticulously built display of British cheeses, scattered like confetti in his wake. The laughter that followed, rich and unrestrained, became the bridge needed, the union of two cultures, meeting through the shared joy of life's simple absurds. The Whitfield's journey in Yorkshire was, much to their delight, unfolding with the promise of new friendships and unexpected camaraderie. Sure, there were tantrums, like the time Daisy found out what truly constituted pudding in this part of the world, but they were interspersed with an abundance of joyful discoveries. It was the beginning of something uniquely their own, a tapestry of experiences weaving together their Texan vibrancy with Yorkshire's subtle allure. Chapter 4. The Rodeo Entree. As months went by, the Whitfields grew more accustomed to their tranquil Yorkshire lifestyle, even if Daisy still occasionally lamented the scarcity of true cowboy boots among the local haberdasheries. However, The Texan spirit that they brought with them was not lost, but instead blossomed in unexpected ways. Inspired by their newfound friendships and the bit of Southern flair they'd introduced into their community, Daisy concocted one of her grandest ideas yet, an all-American rodeo event. "It'll be a hoot," she exclaimed, waving her arms animatedly, much to Hank's hesitant bewilderment. "Daisy, we're in the middle of Yorkshire. Where are we going to find bulls and broncs?" Hank questioned, eyeing the surrounding fields, which were typically home to docile sheep. But Daisy wasn't daunted. "It's more about the feeling, Hank. We'll get the locals involved, mix in a bit of fairground fun, and who knows, maybe they'll love it." Enticed by Daisy's vision, Hank threw himself into the planning. Jessie, naturally eager for a taste of home, joined in, while Lily used her penchant for drama to script out entertaining spectacle events. Secretly, Hank even began to envision himself donning a cowboy hat once again. Their collective enthusiasm proved infectious. Word spread through the village, curiosity piqued by the peculiar prospect of a rodeo amidst the rolling meadows. Families, friends, and even people from neighboring towns expressed interest, and soon posters dotted the village notice boards, each emblazoned with a colorful depiction of a lasso-wielding cowboy. The day of the event dawned bright and clear, an unusual break from the regular drizzle. The meadows near their cottage were transformed. Bales of hay marked boundaries of makeshift arenas, brightly colored bunting fluttered in the breeze, and stalls stocked with both Texan and Yorkshire treats lined the grassy thoroughfares. A crowd gathered, a diverse mix of intrigued locals and curious visitors. The atmosphere was vibrant, the air buzzing with excitement as Yorkshire's charming reserve mixed with Texan exuberance. Daisy flitted about, donning a flamboyant, star-spangled outfit, greeting arrivals with her megawatt smile. At the heart of this gathering exuberance, the entertainment began. Jessie led a relay race involving sheep instead of ponies, much to the delight of spectators, while Lily orchestrated a small theatrical performative act, highlighting the similarities between Texan and Yorkshire folklore. The event's crowning glory, however, was the impromptu rodeo challenge. Instead of broncos, the community brought forth their old farm tractors, adorned with painted cardboard critters attached for thematic flair. Hank took the center stage, hat-tipping as he leapt onto a decorated tractor. "Let's show them how it's done, Texan-style," he shouted, eliciting cheers erupting from the assembled crowd, who clapped along to the lively strains of country music. Soon, villagers joined, laughing breathlessly as they tried to match Hank's exuberant antics, their own interpretations of rodeo bravery spawning delighted applause from onlookers. Even Mr. Hargreaves, who'd never sat on a tractor in his life, found himself persuaded by the jovial peer pressure. The day rolled into the evening, dances under twinkling fairy lights replacing the daylight's activities. Friendships forged over rodeo antics and tractor rendezvous deepened, stitching the fabric between Texan and Yorkshire ways tighter than either had anticipated. As the last strains of country music faded and dusk settled, the Whitfield family found themselves reflecting beneath the starry sky. The rodeo had proved a resounding success, their hearts full from the connections made and memories formed. Chapter 5: Embracing the Dales. The rodeo's success marked a turning point for the Whitfields, a symbol of their full-hearted diving into life in Yorkshire. The event had not only endeared them to the villagers, but had somehow marked the blending of their two worlds. With this newfound confidence, Hank ventured with more ease into his workplace, gradually learning the art of British banter, utilizing the dry wit of his colleagues, and finding humor in the cultural exchange. He even managed to introduce a tradition of Friday feasts, where he intermittently treated his coworkers to Texas barbecue ribs against a backdrop of English ales. Daisy, with her natural charisma, became a cherished member of local community clubs, sharing Southern recipes and swap stories about life in the U.S. Occasionally, she still faced puzzled looks at her deep South turns of phrase, but to her delight, her wit found an appreciative audience among her new friends. Jesse eventually picked up rugby and became known for his Texan tackles, a term that became affectionate shorthand for his spirited style of playing that combined American football's zeal with a newfound understanding of rugby strategy. His blend of determination and emotion won over the camaraderie of his teammates, expanding his sense of belonging. Lily took to exploring the countryside with her camera, capturing the breathtaking beauty of the moors, the vibrant heather, and the quaint scenes of village life. Her photographs soon adorned the walls of the local tea room, becoming a favorite among patrons and showcasing her unique perspective as both an outsider and local. The seasons shifted, painting the landscape in hues of Yorkshire's changing moods, from the golden whisper of autumn leaves through the quiet grace of winter snow to the awakening vibrancy of spring. With each passing day, the Whitfields found themselves increasingly at home, blending their Texan roots with their newfound English soil. Holidays became a fusion of traditions. Thanksgiving was an opportunity for a grand feast unmatched by anything the village had seen, Daisy's pecan pies becoming the stuff of legend. Come December, a festive exchange took place. Daisy and Hank taught locals how to make snow angels and savor cornbread stuffing, while their neighbors introduced them to the quaint delight of mince pies and cracker pulling. Despite occasional hiccups and the melancholic nostalgia that struck when the scent of barbecue infused the evening air, the Whitfields found that their shared experiences, woven with Yorkshire's tapestry, only enriched their lives further. Their journey from Austin to Yorkshire taught them resilience, adaptability, and most importantly, how embracing differences could widen one's heart. It was about finding laughter in tumbleweed messes, joy in cultural exchanges, and warmth amidst tea and company. As evening drew in and cobblestone streets shone under lamplight, Hank and Daisy sat on their small porch, enveloped in the tranquility unique to the Dales. The hum of distant laughter wove through the air, harmonizing with the rustle of trees. "We did good, didn't we, Hank?" Daisy mused, leaning against him with contentment. Hank nodded, his eyes scanning the silhouette of moors, lit tenderly by the moonlight. "We did great, Daisy. We found more than we ever thought we would. In the heart of Yorkshire, they found an unexpected home, a life woven between cultures, built on adventures both grand and simple, sweetened by friends who'd become like family." In trading cowboy hats for flat caps, the Whitfields discovered an adventure that stayed true to their Texan essence while embracing the warmth of Yorkshire's rustic charm. The tale of tea, tantrums, and tumbleweeds became a cherished journey of laughter, love, and discovery. As the Whitfields continued to tread the scenic paths of Yorkshire, step by delightful step, in their hearts they knew they found their own unique story, one that embraced the world with a bit of Texas-sized courage and Yorkshire grace.